Okay, now that we did the external build, we're going to move into installing everything into the case. Let's do this. It's the fun stuff. So in this first part, we're going to be bringing in the external build. You have to see that I've taken off the GPUs from the external build because it's very hard to install with them on. You might damage something. For this step, you might also need somebody to help you because it's really difficult to do by yourself. Before manipulating the motherboard and securing it into the case, we want to get the cooler out of the way, so we have to secure it into the top grills of the case. This is done using screws, so for this step as well you might want to have somebody to help you out. So all you have to do is just line up the fans with the holes in the case, and you just screw them in with a screwdriver. It's kind of hard, this part, if you don't have someone to help you out, but if there is someone to help you, it's really easy. You can see that I'm stressing the point that the first time you're building a PC, you need somebody to help you. So we fixated the cooler onto the case, so it's not going to fall onto the motherboard, so we're ready to manipulate it. You can see that when I put the motherboard in, I pushed it against the back I/O panel and everything fits nicely and tightly there. So now we're going to want to screw the motherboard onto the case. It's very simple. You have special screws which come with the case, and you just put them through certain holes in the motherboard. There's 9 of them, and you screw them into the case. That was simple. Moving on to installing the GPUs and securing them. So the first step is to remove these little metal slots by unscrewing them and just pulling them out of the case. You can see that I've done this already. It's very simple. Then you have to basically pop down the latch like you did before of the PCIe slot. Once the slot is open, just like before when doing the external build, you just push in the graphic card. Only this time the difference is that the graphic card is also going to be leaning against the wall of the case. And so you just want to screw the graphic card into the case using the same screws you undid when taking out these little metal slots. It's simple, just a deal of screwing stuff in. It's nothing very difficult. Now that the 2 graphic cards are secure, we're ready to move on. So we're going to be moving on to installing the HDD and the SSD. So we got the hard drive here, so we're going to first start off by installing the SSD. So this is really simple. You have to take the screws that you get with your SSD, prepare them. Then you can see that there are little holes in the drive tray, and you just have to line up the SSD with those, and then you just screw it in. Yep. Now that they're all screwed in, the SSD is ready. We're just going to move on to the hard drive. It's basically the same process. So you just want to place it into the tray. And this time, instead of screwing it in from the bottom, you're going to put in the screws from the side. You use the screws that came with the hard drive, or if they didn't come with the hard drive, you just use the ones which came with the case, because they usually come with some. And depending on what sort of case you have, you might have some that you don't even need to do any screwing in. You might have just clips, and you just clip it in. Might be a toolless sort of drive tray. Alright, we're done with that. So this is basically the hot swap drive base, so you just pop in drives and pop them back out. And it's really simple. You just click on this button and it opens the area where you can just pop drive bays in and out. You can see. So we're just going to take the SSD and we're going to just pop it into the first slot. So it really depends on what type of case you have. It might vary, and then you just click the button and it goes in. So depending on what case you have, the system of installing the hard drives might change, because not all cases have hot swap drive bays like this one. So we're moving on to installing the optical drive. Really easy stuff as well. So this is the optical drive, as you can see, and we're going to be placing it over here in the front part of the case. So before we can place it, we have to do a few things. The first of which is just to pop off the front panel. Depending on which case you have, it will vary. You might even not have to pop it off. And you can see the inside area. Pretty nice. The second step is to take off the 5 1/4 inch shield. This is the place where you're going to be installing the actual optical drive. Yep, there you go, it's popped out. And then you want to just put it back onto the case and just insert the optical drive into there. Just push it in. It's all good. Now we're going to move on to securing this thing. So depending on which case you have, you might have a toolless securing mechanism, or you might have to use some screws. In my case, I just have to slide a little thingy. It just locks the optical drive into place. Now we're going to move on to installing the PSU. So you see the big block here, 1000 watts of power. So you just place the PSU into its designated slot in the PC. It might be on the top of the case or the bottom. In my case, it was the bottom. And then just with the screws that were given with the PSU, you just screw it into the case and secure it. There we go. And that's done. The internal build is almost finished. All that's left is basically wiring everything up and launching this beast. Let's get to it.